hearing.
Okay, sir. So I don't have a presentation. I'll just speak verbally.
Yeah.
So this case presented some diagnostic challenges to us. When we consider the epidemiological characteristics of this patient and the clinical picture, absence of a focal leak, it is clearly not a case of an acute CSR. So then should we label it as a chronic CSR given the persistence of the subretinal fluid? But again, would a chronic CSR present in this age and bilaterally? And then would there not be any gravitational tracts, any pigmentary mottling or any extramacular scars? So then should we consider it as a case of an atypical Whittley-form macular dystrophy in the post-Whitley ruptive stage? But we could not find any significant lipofuscin deposits or any hyperreflectivities subretinally in the OCT, or even in the fundus picture, it is not seen. And why would there be a fibrotic scar? Then another thing that came to us was, could it be a pachychoroid spectrum? But the choroidal thickness does not appear to be elevated, and even there are not many pachy vessels that can be seen. So at this stage, we are left with what do we actually have in hand? If it is an atypical Whittley-form macular dystrophy, then is it right to advise an EOG and genetic testing, considering the fact that there is a significant amount of cost involved, and also the patient will have to travel, and that too in the COVID circumstances? So how should we tailor our investigations further to this case? And what can we give to her, offer her, so that there is some resolution of the fluid and hopefully some mitigation of symptoms?
Okay, Tufela.
Thank you.
Dr. Dinesh, would you like to take?
Frankly speaking, I mean, if we have to talk in terms of being sure what we are dealing with, you would need an electrophysiological test. There is no way out of that. But if you say, all right, I mean, is there anything I have to do in this case? So the answer is no. There's nothing to be done at this moment. Whether it's BEST, whether it's chronic CSCR, at this stage, there is nothing, no intervention required. So I would not like to, I would say, let's get the testing done, then we see. The thing which really goes against chronic CSCR is the lack of that, you know, the petal drop kind of picture, the sick RP. We're not seeing anything like that. It's a very localized disease confined to the central macula. First, I thought maybe some kind of a uveal effusion, but that's more generalized. It's not a localized. Sometimes those cases can present with, when they heal, they present with subretinal fibrosis. But that is a more diffuse kind of picture. It is not a localized picture to the macula only. So that's why I think this atypical BEST is a possibility that needs to be seriously considered and ruled out.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So if I can just jump in, I think, this is definitely not a chronic CSCR. You needn't worry about that. Your fluorescence does it clearly. What we don't have here is the autofluorescence. The autofluorescence may have shown it up a little better. And so this belongs to my mind, the Whittley-form macular group of diseases. Now in this, there are 4 which have to be looked at. There is adult Whittley-form macular dystrophy, which most probably this is. Then there is BEST's, its classic form, where you will find all the different stages, the 5 stages. And then there are 2 rare forms, which is autosomal recessive bestrophinopathy and ADVIRC, adult dominant choroidiopathy. So the last 2 are rare. The first 2 are something which we see fairly commonly. Now, to differentiate between this is where you need electrophysiology, EOG, ERG. With this thing, with our adult dominant form, AVMD, you may not find a subnormal EOG, but with BEST you will definitely. And with that ARB, recessive bestrophinopathy. Whereas with ADVIRC and with AVMD, adult Whittley-form, you will not find it. So that's one way of differentiating this two. Like Dr. Dinesh said, there's absolutely nothing to really push this patient to do anything. Just keep observing this patient. If possible, get a look at close relatives to see if there's any genetic correlate.
Exactly. I agree with Anand that you can do 2 things within your purview. Since you said EOG is not available to you, this clinically it's more towards BEST rather than CSR, chronic CSR. That is, all 3 of us will agree. Second is, you can do a autofluorescence if that is available directly to you. Again, it will indicate to you that it's BEST and confirmation will be more clear. third is that you can go with the family history. You do the family tree, then examine the relatives, immediate relatives of the
റെഡിയാണല്ലോ അല്ല അടുത്ത ചിലപ്പോൾ പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും.
that will help you in a large extent.
ഹലോ
Thank you very much.
Kiran,
sir.
you can mute. Kiran, you can mute. Yeah. So we are dealing with probably a case of vitiliform degeneration, and as Sir told, autofluorescence would be classic. How often do we get sensorineural detachment with vitiliform degenerations?
We see it quite often. In fact, more often than not, it is with a sensory neural detachment. That's a classic presentation. You will find these precipitates under the surface of that neurosensory detachment. Might find scarring rarely, and very often with AVMD, it can even be in an extrafoveal location. It need not be purely in the macular location. That is one key thing to be understood about adult vitiliform macular dystrophy. So all of them will be autofluorescent except for CSCR. Where again, even in CSCR, the subretinal precipitates can be autofluorescent. So that has to be taken. But that's the only thing.
The subretinal fluid is actually could be just, that is then degenerative. If it's best, it's not a.
That is called the vitiliform space. Actually, they call it the vitiliform space.
So it's basically
It's not fluid.
Yeah, it's not fluid. But
Actually,
there will be fluid.
Anand, did you check on bestrinopathy? Because I think that shows scars also.
Yeah,
The
that's what.
scarring is part of the.
I have a case where we have a case of AVMD where there was in one eye there was a bit of scarring. In fact, that is where it was confused to be a chronic AMD, scarred AMD.
And
So,
even I think the subretinal precipitates are also described.
If you see both the eyes, it is very classic. One, it has gone into scarring, and the other one is still in the resolution phase.
See, even the best phase,
think-
the final phase is scarring.
Yes.
Final phase is scarring. So it does go through a scarring.
Right eye is scarring already advanced.
Exactly.
So Dr.